We all talk about laziness, right? But usually we think of it as a time management issue or maybe just not having enough energy. Today, let's look at it from a totally different angle. What if laziness isn't really a physical problem at all? What if it's a spiritual one? A trap, where our own comfort becomes a cage that holds us back.
It all starts with this one tiny, familiar phrase. We've all said it. You've got that big goal, that important thing you know you need to do, and you just tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. It seems so harmless, doesn't it? What's one day? But here's the thing about tomorrow. It's sneaky. That one single tomorrow has a way of turning into next week. And then next week turns into, oh, I'll do it after this big project is over, or once things finally calm down. That starting line just keeps getting pushed further and further back. And then, before you even realize it, that dream you had, that good habit you wanted to build, that prayer you wanted to be more consistent with, it's just sitting there, on a shelf, collecting dust. What started as a tiny delay has now become a habit, a pattern of doing nothing.
So this whole pattern, it actually has a name, and really getting what it is, that's the first step to breaking out of it. Let's call it what it is, the I'll start tomorrow trap.
In classical Islamic thought, they had a specific word for this, Kasl. Now, this isn't about being physically tired, it's a spiritual resistance to putting in the effort. It's that exact feeling of, yeah, I know I should be doing that, but just not right now. The great scholar Imam al-Ghazali called this one of the most deceptive diseases of the heart. And why? Because it feels so comfortable, so reasonable in that moment.
So how does this happen? How does something that feels so innocent, so harmless, slowly turn into a full-blown cage that traps our potential? Let's dig into that.
And let's be super clear here. This is not about needing rest. It's not about sleeping in on a weekend. That's healthy. We're talking about something way deeper. It's that feeling of resistance when you know something is good for you. When prayer feels heavy, when learning something new feels like a chore, when any kind of real self-improvement just gets shoved to the side.
And here's the great big irony of it all. Laziness promises you rest. It whispers in your ear, hey, just relax. You can do it later. You deserve a break. But what does it actually deliver? A nagging, restless feeling in the back of your mind. You're not actually at peace because you know that thing is still waiting for you. It's the illusion of rest, with none of the real reward.
Imam al-Ghazali puts it so powerfully. He says, this isn't just about wasting a few hours here and there. It's about wasting your life. Because every single time you choose that easy path of delay, you make that habit stronger. And bit by bit, the heart just loses its fire, its drive to do anything that truly matters. And let's be real, our world today is the perfect breeding ground for this. The cage of comfort isn't just built out of soft pillows anymore. Oh no, it is reinforced with the high-tech steel of endless, easy distractions. The second a productive thought enters your head, your phone buzzes. There's always an easier, more instantly gratifying option right at your fingertips. Scrolling will always feel easier than striving. Okay, so how do you know? How do you know if you're actually caught in this trap? This is going to take a little bit of honest self-reflection. So let's go through some of the key warning signs. Just take a second and ask yourself this, honestly. Do you consistently put off the things that you know really matter? The things that line up with your deepest values? Do you push those aside for things that feel urgent but aren't important, or just for pure distraction?
All right, next question. Think about those little pockets of free time you have. What's your default setting? Is it to automatically reach for the easy dopamine hit? Scrolling social media, watching another show? Or do you sometimes, even just sometimes, choose the harder path? The one that leads to growth, like reading a challenging book or working on that personal project.
Now this one is so important. Do you ever find yourself saying, I'm just too tired, when what you really mean is, I just don't feel inspired? It's so easy to confuse the two. Are you truly physically drained, or are you just feeling disconnected from a strong enough reason to get up and act?
So, if you've found yourself nodding along or saying yes to some of those, here's the diagnosis. And I promise you, it's actually really good news. This isn't about you having some permanent character flaw. You are not a lazy person. It's just a sign, a signal that you've gotten disconnected from your why, your purpose. Because purpose, that's the fuel that just burns right through this spiritual resistance.
So now that we've got the diagnosis, let's talk about the most important part, the remedy. How do we actually break out of the cage? This is the path to action.
Imam al-Ghazali gives us this incredible metaphor. He says to think of your inner self, your soul, like a stubborn animal, right? You can't just yell at it and force it to obey. That won't work. But you also can't just let it run wild and do whatever it wants. It needs to be trained. And the tools for that training are consistency and patience.
So how do we do this training? He lays out a beautiful 3-part remedy. First up, remember accountability. Start seeing every single moment not as something to pass, but as a meaningful piece of your life story. Second, start small. I mean, ridiculously small. If a task feels overwhelming, just commit to doing it for 2 minutes. It's a game changer because it tricks your brain's resistance. And third, really reflect on the value of time. When you truly sit with how short and precious life is, procrastination starts to look like a really, really bad deal. Now we can add some modern strategies to that timeless wisdom. For one, surround yourself with people who get things done. Energy is so contagious. 2, break those huge, scary goals into tiny, bite-sized steps. 3, celebrate your small wins. It builds momentum. And maybe the most important tip of all, stop waiting to feel motivated. Act first. Motivation isn't the cause of action, it's the result of it. Motion creates emotion.
So the next time you feel it, and you will, that heavy, sinking feeling in your chest, that whiny voice in your head that says, I just don't wanna. Instead of caving, just try this. Smile, just a little, and reframe what that feeling means. Whisper to yourself, this is it. This is the moment my heart gets stronger. Because that moment of resistance, that's the gym for your soul. Pushing through it is how you build spiritual muscle.
And it all comes down to this, doesn't it? The pull of comfort is powerful, and it feels good right now. But that feeling is always temporary. Discipline, that's hard in the moment, but the self-respect, the sense of accomplishment, the peace that comes from it, that feeling lasts.
So just remember, laziness is not who you are. It's just a habit, and any habit can be broken. Your potential is way too important to leave on standby. The only question is, what's the one small action you're going to take today to start rewriting your tomorrow?